Hello, good afternoon. Lady Romford here. And today we're going to be reviewing Yahimba. Yahimba is a thief name. Nice name, right? First of all, let's admire the beautiful cover of this book. Absolutely gorgeous. I was going to try and arrange my hair in that format, but let's move on. So Yahimba is a young girl, who has just recently gone through a major family tragedy. I'm going to be giving spoilers, so just bear with me because I can't review the book comfortably without giving spoilers. So she had just lost both parents, and she was a product of an outside relationship. So basically her mom came into the marriage with her. So she's not a biological child of her dad. And so the moment her parents passed, the family kicked her out of the house and she was basically going through the move. To compound matters, her boyfriend Bem was cheating on her and she walked in on him sleeping with somebody and her heart was broken and she was shattered. And so at that time, she worked in banking, UBA. She worked in banking and her office posted her to Lagos. So she took the posting and she moved to Lagos. On moving to Lagos, her biological dad got in touch with her, tried to reconcile with her. And, she kind of met family. In the course of meeting family, she met this guy, Eymufe. She met Eymufe. Eventually they fell in love and the rest is history. So yeah, that's pretty much the story in a nutshell. So I'm going to be talking about things I observed in the book. First of all, we're going to talk about the book, the initial part of the book being based in Makurdi, Benue State. As a Benue girl, always looking for minority states to be represented, I was very, very happy to see my state represented. No, I don't live in Makurdi. I don't live in Makurdi. I'm not from Makurdi. I'm from Otukpo. And yes, Otukpo showed up in the book. But either way, I was just happy to see a minority state represented, not alone my state. It made me very happy. Secondly, I've seen a lot of the thief names, Iveren, Teso, Bem, and the rest. It was very nice to see some of my best people in the world are thief people. And so I was just happy to see some of their names in the book. I was very, very happy. Okay, so thirdly, Yahimba's age was never really mentioned. I don't know why, but I feel like if we knew her age, I would have kind of had an idea where her mind was at because, the way people think is a function of their age sometimes. She was a small town girl, so she was kind of naive and it showed in her behavior, and I appreciate that the author was able to capture that, but I wish we knew her age and Eyimufe's age too. Speaking of Eyimufe, we never really got to know Eyimufe. I didn't know him before the book started. I wanted to know what he was about, what his school life was like, what his childhood was like, if he had siblings, everything was very, very sparse. Honestly, very sparse. His relationship with his sister was very sparse, with his mom, his dad. For somebody who had lost his dad, I thought he would understand what Yahimba was going through with the loss of her parents, but he never brought it up. Speaking of the loss of her parents, Yahimba had just lost her parents, and I feel like apart from the first two maybe chapters where it was mentioned, okay, your parents just died, and it wasn't really brought up anymore. And I felt like it should have been brought up because even when Eyumufe followed her to Makurdi, I thought he would want to know where her parents were buried. He wants to go into the house where she grew up, stuff like that, just to get to know her better. I mean, this is a lady that you're actively chasing and your heart is doing bing for. But everything was just glossed over. The Yahimba herself didn't seem to be talking about her parents. In fairness to Yahimba, she was lashing out. She seemed to have developed a very bad temper, and her friend Chichi brought it up. So I want to believe Yahimba was internalizing everything and then just lashing out. She lashed out at Eyumufe a lot. So that explained her own behavior. But I didn't understand other people's behavior. Even in reconciling with her brother, I thought he would want to know what she was about. Tell me about your parents. Tell me about your life. Nobody was asking those questions. And as a reader, I wanted to know all that, how she grew up, how she found out about her parentage and all whatnot. There was also, let me look at my notes. There was also the issue of, it's not an issue, just an observation, Makurdi. As somebody who knows Makurdi, there was a part of the book where said Makurdi is a small town, it's known for pounded yam and afang. Afang, where to where? We have our own native soup, so afang is not one of them. And I can tell you for free, some of the things Makurdi is known for. Beer, number one. Pounded yam, yes. Meat. See, people literally eat pounded yam and meat. They are not even a soup people like that, but even then they have their own soup. So afang, it didn't make sense to me. And then they talk about the nightlife in Makurdi. Makurdi has quite a vibrant nightlife, and there's a lot of drinking and music, and that's not the focus. I just thought to mention that obviously the author probably didn't want to go too much into that. But if you're going to write about a minority tribe that is not represented in any other state, it would be fair to know a little about the people that actually live and come from there and what they do. Which is another thing, that Yahimba had never drank beer. If you know how much Makurdi people drink, that Yahimba has never tasted alcohol just didn't seem realistic to me. I'll just leave it there. Okay, so things I didn't quite like. There was not much banter in the relationship. I wanted to see the love talk, those conversations that make you giggle, give you butterflies in your tummy. There wasn't a lot of that. I feel like the relationship just went from, Eyumufe was chasing her. Eventually she said yes. Then the very next time we see them, they got into a fight. Then, it was just bam, bam, bam. Not much. I wanted to feel the relationship. And also, speaking of banter, the bromance between Eyumufe and his two friends, we didn't see the bromance like that. I think the conversations, I love bromance and cis-mans, and I love to see it in books. But in this book, I don't know if it's me that wasn't really feeling it or it wasn't really there, but personally, I feel like it wasn't really there. And I'm beginning to suspect that maybe because of editing the book, they took out some parts of it just to maybe reduce the number of words. Because I just felt like a lot of banter wasn't really in the book. I don't know. I struggled with that. Mm. And then I feel like we could have gotten more of the background of Yahimba's relationship with Yahimba's biological dad. Like her mom and the dad, how they met and all that. Like I really wanted to know. We wanted background gist. Even the Imo fair, wanted to know what makes them tick and all whatnot. So these are some of my observations with the book. So, and that's about it really. I really feel like the book could have been more, but based on what we have, because it is an interesting read. The Yahimba will frustrate you. Like I said, her temper. Oh, geez, she vex. But I feel like as somebody who has a sibling who is hot tempered, Yahimba didn't get there. She was still holding back. I feel like she was still holding back, If she had unleashed the way these people with hot temper used to unleash, I don't think, but it's okay. It was fair. So, and I wish maybe a therapist had been introduced because I feel like Yahimba needed therapy. She was going through so much. These are just my thoughts and observations. So, yeah, I read the book a 3-star. It's interesting and an absolutely beautiful book. And I'm looking forward to reading the next one, Zala. And then after which I'll read Ubehi. Thank you.